welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely flip the script on how you think about owning an electric vehicle. For the longest time, the big narrative was that an aging EV is basically a ticking financial time bomb, right? But the industry is actually undergoing a massive, massive shift. We're moving away from this whole disposable mindset and heading straight into an era built on serious, long-term durability. So let's tackle the elephant in the room. That absolute terror holding so many people back from going electric. You know the one. The fear that once your battery is out of warranty, your car is basically destined for the scrapyard. And look, in the early days, critics kind of hit the nail on the head. Replacing an entire battery pack was a huge financial hit, sometimes even costing more than the car itself, which literally meant a total loss declaration from the insurance company. But what if you didn't actually have to replace the whole thing at once? To break all of this down, our explainer today is going to breeze through 5 key things: the death of the disposable EV, the incredible cell-level revolution, how software and the right to repair fit into all this, the totally new service ecosystem, and finally, why a used EV is actually a brilliant purchase today. Let's jump in. Part 1. The death of the disposable EV. We've got to start by busting the absolute biggest myth out there, that EVs are just giant disposable gadgets. In Italy, they have this phrase, usa e getta, which basically means use and throw away. That was the old way of thinking. Today, by mastering targeted repairability, the auto industry is finally decoupling the lifespan of the actual car from the factory warranty of its battery. We're no longer looking at the battery as a single massive consumable block, but as a modular system that can actually be renewed. Which brings us to part 2, the cell-level revolution. So how are these specialized techs keeping out-of-warranty cars on the road without charging an absolute fortune? Well, instead of a crazy, wasteful, capital-intensive full-pack swap, where you're tossing out thousands of perfectly good cells and rare materials, the industry is pivoting to a much more surgical approach. It's called cell-by-cell regeneration. And the economics of this? Absolutely game-changing. By focusing literally only on what's broken, this targeted repair costs about the same as a major engine overhaul on a gas car. It takes a total financial disaster and turns it into a totally normal, manageable mechanical fix. This regeneration process basically happens in 3 steps. First, technicians do an intrusive pack intervention. Now, that's just a highly technical way of saying they safely crack open that sealed high-voltage battery. Second, they use some seriously advanced diagnostics to pinpoint the exact chemical cells that have degraded. And third, they do precision module balancing. This is where they perfectly sync up the voltage and capacity of the new cells with the old ones, keeping everything safe and making sure the fix actually lasts. Moving on to part 3, software and the right to repair. Here's the catch, though. Fixing the physical hardware is really only half the battle, because the software is the ultimate gatekeeper in an EV. You can't just swap in some fresh cells and drive off. You actually have to interact with the BMS, the battery management system. Think of the BMS as the digital mission control of your car. If you put new hardware in, but the software still remembers the old degraded state, the repair does nothing. You literally have to teach the software to recognize and use the new hardware. And this, right here, is exactly why the right to repair movement is an absolute necessity. Historically, car makers have used proprietary software locks to, keep a monopoly on repairs. Empowering independent technicians to bypass those locks is crucial. By achieving what we call software sovereignty, independent labs can do deep software modding, recalibrate the BMS, and sync everything up completely outside of the official dealer networks. It means your car doesn't become obsolete just because of some artificial digital padlock. All right, part 4, the new repair ecosystem. Thanks to all these new hardware and software skills, the aftermarket is rapidly splitting into 2 distinct tiers. On one side, you have generalist networks, places like Bosch Car Service, that offer incredible convenience for routine maintenance, diagnostics, and standard plug-and-play replacements. But on the other side, you've got the elite, advanced specialists like EV Safe in Italy or Catziel's Global Ning Service. These guys are operating basically like high-tech engineering labs. They have the clean rooms, the deep chemical knowledge, and the software hacking skills to do true cell-level regeneration. And finally, part 5, why you should honestly consider buying a used EV. So, what does all this high-end engineering actually mean for you and your driveway? Well, it means EVs are graduating. They are moving from a fragile technology gadget life cycle, things you just toss after a few years, into highly durable industrial assets. Because we now have this robust repair ecosystem, used EVs are retaining their functional value way past the original warranty. It's basically put a super solid floor under used EV prices, stopping the residual values from just plummeting to zero. Which brings us to the biggest takeaway of this whole explainer. If a brand new electric car just isn't in your budget right now, buying a secondhand EV is undeniably one of the smartest, most cost-effective things you can do for your daily commute. Because cell-level repair costs are now right in line with traditional gas car fixes, those terrifying total loss scenarios are practically a thing of the past. You definitely don't need to be a massive car enthusiast or a crazy risk taker to buy a used EV anymore. The support system is completely there, making an older EV the absolute best solution for everyday drivers looking to go electric on a budget. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really hope this deep dive into cell-level repair and software sovereignty changes how you look at the whole used EV market. We have officially moved away from a disposable past and into a super durable future, and it makes going electric so much more accessible. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today. I'll leave you with this. If a dead battery isn't a financial death sentence anymore, what's stopping you from going electric tomorrow? Catch you next time.